Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here. Gonna do a quick review on my new used Ruger Blackhawk. Now, I've been looking for a 357 Magnum revolver for quite a while now. I was planning on getting one with my tax return. I didn't actually end up getting this with my tax return. I got another gun with that, but I did end up getting this Ruger Blackhawk. Now, I was kind of planning on getting a Security 6 or something along those lines, but I found this Blackhawk for an excellent deal. I got it for $289 plus tax. So it ended up being like a total of $315, somewhere around there. So pretty good deal. And it's a good 357 Magnum revolver. It is a Ruger, and Rugers are pretty hard to mess up, if you ask me. They're just really big, beefy, overbuilt revolvers. Yeah, I know. Some people will say, well, they're made out of cast materials and stuff like that, so they're not as durable. But they're really, really durable. Trust me. Now, of course, you don't want to put like supercharged rounds in there or anything, or double charged rounds. Don't do anything stupid, but it will handle a pretty stout load. So, Ruger Blackhawk is a single action Colt single action army style of revolver. It is not a copy or a clone. It does have a completely different internal system, but externally, it's pretty similar to a Colt single action army. It does have the nice adjustable sights with the white U-notch in the back, and a nice ramped front sight there. This particular one is 4 3/4 of an inch for the barrel length, which is not the ideal barrel. It's not the barrel length that I would have preferred, but it was a really good deal, so I figured I might as well snatch it up, even though it's not the 6.5-inch barrel, which is what I would prefer. This is an older model. It was made in 1977, which, here, let me zoom out a little bit. It was made in 1977, which is, I think, pretty close to the time frame where they changed over to the new model Blackhawk, which basically means that it has the transfer bar safety, and it is the 2-pin design. There was an older 3-screw design, which I think are pretty desirable revolvers. It does have some wood grips. Now, these are pretty old and worn wood grips, but if you ask me, it gives it some good character, and I think I'll probably stick with just having these grips on it. Standard 6-shooter. Ruger does make some models of single action revolvers that have 7, 8, 9, 10 shots. This one is your standard 6-shooter. You do have your pin here. Push this little button, pull this pin out, and you can take your cylinder out. If you have a convertible model, you can have a 9mm cylinder and pop it right in there. Same with like the 45 Colt, and there's even a 10mm model that you can put a 40 Smith & Wesson cylinder in. This one's obviously a blued model. Now, the blued models have an aluminum bottom frame, so all of this and the trigger guard is aluminum, and I think your ejector rod housing is aluminum as well. You can kind of tell it's a different color. Let's see, other than that, I mean, the reason this gun was so cheap is because it's in pretty rough shape. You got some spots like here at the end of the barrel, and right here where you can tell that it had rusted and had some pitting, and then somebody took all the rust off of it, which is, it's a pretty decent job. It does have some good rifling in the barrel. I'm not going to take it apart and show you the rifling, but it does have some pretty decent rifling. The ejector rod housing is pretty beat up. There's a big scratch under the barrel from the takedown pin here. There is actually, like, if you pull the takedown pin out, there's like a little U notch or whatever you want to call it in the top of it to so that it follows the barrel. When I brought it home, I actually noticed that the pin was turned and the notch that's supposed to be under the barrel wasn't under the barrel, so it was turned and it was actually scratching the bottom of the barrel. So, you know, now you got a big scratch on the bottom of the barrel. And then, of course, you know, just your standard cylinder scratch here, and scratches and gouges all over the grips, and just, you know, the whole firearm, really. You know, it's in pretty rough shape, but it's definitely a shooter, and it's definitely a gun that I wouldn't feel bad taking out in the woods with me to go hunting, which is kind of the reason why I got this, is so I could take a handgun hunting, like a handgun caliber that I'm actually comfortable shooting a deer with. You know, up until now, I've carried 22s, I've carried 9mm, 45s, but I've never carried a 357 Magnum. So, you know, 357 Magnum is the only caliber that I have currently that I actually feel comfortable taking a deer with, as far as handguns go. So it is something I could take out during alternative method season. Since I don't have a muzzle loader of my own, I could, you know, just take this out in the woods and hunt deer with it. Of course, it's not the ideal setup with that shorter barrel, but it can be done. So anyway, that's my Ruger Blackhawk. Pretty good deal if I do say so myself. Again, it's a pretty beat up gun, but it's still a good gun. It'll still probably outlast me and maybe even my kids. And it's just gonna be a nice little plinking gun and a nice little hunting gun. So anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.